Ladies and gentlemen, imagine a world where the law is not just a set of rules, but a powerful force that shapes the very fabric of our society. From defining the rights of individuals to challenging the systems that have oppressed them for centuries, there are landmark legal cases that have forever changed the course of history. These cases didn't just alter the law. They reshaped America itself, ensuring equality, justice, and freedom for all. Stay with us, because the legal battles that changed the world are far more than just courtrooms. They are the battlegrounds for our fundamental rights. And ladies and gentlemen, throughout history, there have been landmark legal cases that forever altered the course of the law, leaving an indelible impact on the way we understand justice, individual rights, and the fundamental principles of governance. The first case that comes to mind is Marbury v. Madison 1803, a case that cemented the principle of judicial review. In this case, Chief Justice John Marshall established that the Supreme Court has the authority to declare laws unconstitutional, laying the foundation for the court's role in interpreting the Constitution. Another monumental case, Brown v. Board of Education 1954, struck down the separate but equal doctrine from Plessy v. Ferguson, marking a pivotal moment in the civil rights movement. This decision mandated the desegregation of public schools and served as a catalyst for broader racial equality reforms in the United States. The case of Roe v. Wade 1973 is also of significant importance, as the Supreme Court's decision to legalize abortion under the constitutional right to privacy fundamentally reshaped the landscape of reproductive rights affecting millions of women across the nation. Another case, Gideon v. Wainwright 1963, transformed the criminal justice system by ensuring that all individuals, regardless of their financial status, have the right to legal counsel when charged with a crime. This case ensured that the poor would not be denied a fair trial due to their inability to afford an attorney, reinforcing the idea of equal justice for all. Lastly, Obergefell v. August 2015 was a groundbreaking case for the LGBTQ+ community, in which the Supreme Court ruled that same-sex marriage is a constitutional right under the 14th Amendment, thus recognizing marriage equality across the United States. Each of these cases is a testament to the evolving nature of the law and its ability to adapt to the changing needs of society, shaping the rights of individuals and the boundaries of governmental power in ways that continue to resonate today. And as we reflect on these landmark cases, we must recognize the monumental role they play in shaping our legal landscape, and how they stand as a testament to the resilience of the law in advancing societal progress. Consider the profound impact of Marbury v. Madison, not merely as a decision on the specific circumstances of that case, but as a critical moment in reinforcing the balance of power within the branches of government. By establishing the court's authority to interpret the Constitution, the case empowered the judiciary to stand as an impartial guardian of the nation's fundamental principles. It ensured that no law, regardless of its origin, could go unchecked if it stood in violation of the Constitution's supremacy, securing a robust system of checks and balances that continues to protect the rights of individuals and the values of democracy. And then there is the case of Brown v. Board of Education. When the Supreme Court unanimously ruled that racial segregation in public schools was unconstitutional, it not only overturned the long-standing precedent set by Plessy v. Ferguson, but it also sparked a nationwide movement toward greater civil rights. The decision provided the legal foundation for future legislative and societal changes that would continue to challenge discrimination in all forms. It is no exaggeration to say that the Brown decision shifted the moral compass of an entire nation, creating a legal and societal framework that encouraged Americans to rethink the core values of equality and justice. It sent a clear and unequivocal message. Segregation was not just a social wrong, it was a constitutional violation. The case ignited the civil rights movement, encouraging activists, lawmakers, and ordinary citizens alike to advocate for the dismantling of racial barriers. And Roe v. Wade is another watershed moment, a decision that forever changed the relationship between a woman and her government in the realm of reproductive rights. With its landmark decision, the court recognized that the right to privacy, as implied by the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment, extended to a woman's decision to terminate her pregnancy. This decision affirmed the fundamental rights of women to make decisions about their bodies without undue interference from the state. However, Roe v. Wade is also a reminder of the ongoing struggles for autonomy and equality, as the case remains a contentious issue in the legal and political spheres. Despite the controversies, it is clear that the case marked a shift in how the law viewed women's rights, setting a precedent for future discussions on personal freedom, bodily autonomy, and gender equality. And the impact of Gideon v. Wainwright extends beyond its specific application to criminal law. It illuminated the essential truth that justice is a fundamental right that must be afforded to all citizens regardless of their economic status. The decision recognized that without competent legal representation, a fair trial is an illusion. It served as a cornerstone for the right to counsel in criminal cases, ensuring that every individual has access to the defense they deserve. It reinforced the notion that a just society is one where legal representation is not a privilege but a guarantee. Gideon v. Wainwright was an affirmation that the law must serve to protect the rights of the vulnerable, providing them with the tools to contest accusations and seek justice. And finally, we look to Obergefell v. Hodges, a case that was not merely a legal victory, but a human victory. By recognizing same-sex marriage as a constitutional right, the Supreme Court upheld the values of liberty and equality, ensuring that the fundamental right to marry would be extended to all Americans, regardless of sexual orientation. This ruling reflected the evolving nature of our legal system and its ability to adapt to the needs and struggles of marginalized communities. It was a victory for love for equality and for a future where the law protects the dignity and rights of every individual. As we reflect on these monumental cases, we are reminded that the law is not static. It is dynamic, capable of evolving to meet the demands of a more just and equitable society. And as we consider these groundbreaking legal decisions, it is essential to understand the deep and lasting effect they have had not just on the law itself, but on the very fabric of society. Marbury v. Madison did more than simply affirm the power of judicial review. It reinforced the idea that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, an enduring document that must be respected above all else. This case highlighted the importance of an independent judiciary, one that can stand in defiance of legislative overreach or executive authority. The significance of this decision is undeniable. Without it, the courts could have been sidelined in the critical task of interpreting the Constitution, leaving citizens vulnerable to unconstitutional laws. By establishing judicial review, Marbury became the cornerstone of American legal structure, solidifying the court's role in protecting the rights and liberties of the people. It set the stage for all future constitutional challenges, ensuring that the law would evolve in a way that safeguarded democratic principles. And in Brown v. Board of Education, we see the law acting as a powerful force for social change. The decision transcended the immediate issue of school segregation and struck at the heart of systemic racial inequality. This ruling required the nation to confront its own history of racial injustice and made it clear that the law had the power to dismantle discriminatory practices that had been entrenched for generations. Brown was a clarion call for progress, compelling the United States to begin reckoning with the moral and legal implications of segregation. It created a foundation for other pivotal civil rights decisions, each one challenging the status quo and pushing for a more inclusive, equitable society. The case is a reminder of the law's potential to drive social transformation and the ongoing need for vigilance in the fight for racial justice. And similarly, Roe v. Wade was not just a victory for women. It was a defining moment in the evolution of privacy rights in the United States. By establishing a woman's right to choose an abortion, the Supreme Court enshrined the principle that individuals have the right to make private personal decisions without undue government interference. This decision challenged societal norms, provoking intense political and moral debates. Yet, its importance lies in the recognition of a fundamental truth, that the government does not have the authority to dictate personal choices regarding one's body. It affirmed the dignity and autonomy of women, acknowledging their right to make decisions about their health and their future. While the decision remains controversial, it has undeniably shaped the legal landscape surrounding reproductive rights, influencing countless cases and legislative actions since. And in Gideon v. Wainwright, the court took a bold step in ensuring that justice was not just a privilege for the rich, but a right guaranteed to all regardless of socioeconomic status. The decision recognized that the right to counsel in criminal trials is essential to ensuring a fair trial, a principle that is foundational to our understanding of justice. Before Gideon, many poor defendants were left to defend themselves in complex criminal cases, often resulting in unjust convictions. This ruling required states to provide legal representation for those who could not afford it, leveling the playing field in a way that reinforced the promise of equal protection under the law. It was a case that reaffirmed the American ideal that all individuals, no matter their circumstances, deserve access to justice. And in Obergefell v. Hodges, the Supreme Court affirmed a simple but profound truth, that love knows no boundaries. By legalizing same-sex marriage, the court not only extended a fundamental right to millions of Americans, but also sent a message that the Constitution's guarantees of equality and liberty applied all regardless of sexual orientation. This case marked a dramatic shift in public attitudes towards LGBTQ+ rights, underscoring the law's role in affirming the inherent dignity of all individuals. It was a victory for human rights, a step forward in the ongoing fight for equality. As we consider these landmark cases, we are reminded that the law is not a static institution, but a living, breathing entity capable of evolving to meet the needs of society. Each of these cases has left an indelible mark on our legal system, shaping the rights and freedoms we hold dear today. And the decisions in Gideon v. Wainwright and Obergefell v. Hodges mark profound shifts in the legal landscape, emphasizing the law's role not only in protecting individual rights but in redefining societal norms. In Gideon, the Supreme Court acted as a critical guardian of fairness within the criminal justice system, establishing that without proper legal counsel, the very concept of a fair trial is rendered meaningless. The court recognized that an individual's inability to afford an attorney should not result in a denial of due process. This ruling struck at the heart of the presumption of innocence, ensuring that even the most vulnerable citizens would not be left to navigate the complex machinery of the criminal justice system alone. It was a bold assertion that justice cannot be contingent upon wealth, setting an example for other facets of the law to ensure that the impoverished are not disenfranchised in their pursuit of fairness. It is a decision that has had ripple effects in cases ranging from the right to fair representation in civil matters to broader constitutional challenges involving the rights of the poor and marginalized. And Obergefell v. Hodges, meanwhile, demonstrated the law's potential to evolve with societal change, recognizing that the fundamental rights guaranteed by the Constitution cannot be denied to anyone based on who they live. The case stood at the intersection of civil rights and personal liberty, with the Supreme Court reaffirming the belief that the pursuit of happiness, one of the unalienable rights stated in Declaration of Independence, applies equally to all Americans. The ruling brought same-sex marriage into the fold of constitutional protections, just as previous cases had ensured the rights of other historically oppressed groups. It was a culmination of decades of legal battles, social activism, and shifting public opinion, underscoring the law's power to serve as a tool for progress. By extending marriage rights to same-sex couples, Obergefell not only provided legal validation for same-sex unions, but also issued a clarion call for equality and recognition in all spheres of society. The case reaffirmed the principle that equal protection under the law is not a privilege. It is a right that must extend to all citizens regardless of identity or background. And in each of these cases, we see the evolving role of the judiciary as not just interpreters of the law, but as agents of change. Marbury v. Madison demonstrated the necessity of a judicial system that can check the actions of the other branches of government, ensuring that the Constitution is upheld and that no law goes unchallenged if it violates fundamental rights. Brown v. Board of Education illuminated the law's capacity to challenge entrenched systems of inequality, paving the way for the civil rights movement and demonstrating the court's ability to influence societal values through its rulings. Roe v. Wade showed that the law can be a powerful force in protecting personal autonomy, even as it sparked a nationwide debate about the scope of governmental power over private decisions. Gideon v. Wainwright revealed that the law can ensure that justice is truly blind to wealth, and that everyone, regardless of financial means, has the right to a fair trial. Obergefell v. Hodges proved that the law can advance human dignity and equality, making clear that civil rights must evolve with the changing understanding of justice and human worth. And taken together, these cases remind us that the law is not a static force frozen in time. It is a dynamic instrument of change capable of bending to the will of justice and adapting to the evolving needs of society. The enduring legacy of these landmark cases lies in their demonstration that the law has the power to shape the world, to challenge the status quo, and to expand the rights and freedoms of those who were once denied them. Each of these decisions stands as a testament to the judiciary's essential role in not only interpreting the law, but in advancing it to meet the ever-changing demands of justice. Through their rulings, the Supreme Court has forged a path toward a more just, more equitable society, one case at a time. And as history continues to unfold the legacy of these landmark decisions, will continue to guide the courts and society in ensuring that the principles of justice and equality remain at the heart of the American legal system